Stay tuned and let's take a look at this Marvel Legends Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, SpiderMan Noir and SpiderHam. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are taking a look at the Marvel Legends Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, SpiderMan Noir and another SpiderHam. Now, to be fair, SpiderMan Noir is a welcomed addition to the collection if you are trying to complete that core team of characters from the first Into the Spider-Verse movie, as Hasbro have already given us a version of Miles Morales, Peter B. Parker, and Gwen Stacy, who was packed in with SpiderHam then. So he is an unnecessary release. Who we do need is Penny Parker and her robot, which Marvel Legends line proper are yet to give us. I think Hasbro have given them in like a basic line, and Sentinel Toys have given us a version as well. But I'm sure Marvel Legends will give us them eventually, as there is another movie. The sequel was meant to come out this year, but it got pushed back until 2023. So I have no doubts in my mind that there is another wave of Into the Spider-Verse figures looming on us. We just have to be patient. But today we add SpiderMan Noir to that collection. So there we go in the plastic-free packaging. You know my thoughts on this. Not the biggest fan. Digital render on one side, an image from the movie on the back. On the back, a movie-inspired digital render, as well as a little section of what accessories are in the packaging. Interchangeable head and a gun, it seems. So yeah, no cross-sale, no bio, no nothing like that. This packaging, I'm not a fan. Let's hope there's not a potato in there and get it open. Here we have SpiderMan Noir out of the packaging with his friend SpiderHam and his accessories, which are an interchangeable head and a pistol. So let me move SpiderHam out the way and just take a look at the silhouette that this new jacket cuts on SpiderMan Noir. I do think this guy is going to pose up very nicely, but also limiting at the same time. But he is a completely pinless Marvel Legend. A bit of reuse there, but it's reuse that makes sense, and the accessories make sense as well. So I'll get into all of that, but first I just want to take a quick look at SpiderHam, because he is the same as the one we already got with Gwen Stacy. Real quick SpiderHam comparison with the new one on the left. As you can see, they are exactly the same. The only difference is the colour palette, as there is a more vibrant red and a darker blue on this new one on the left compared to the previous one. But as you know, it's a glorified statue with a ball jointed head. So the ball jointed head is the only point of articulation. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. Nice web line sculpted on him, and the paint is fine enough with the spider logo on the front black and on the back it's blue. But otherwise, only the head moves. So if I quickly show you that, you can see the head is on a ball joint, so you get a little bit of rotation, but it does make him very top heavy. So depending on how you pose him, he will fall backwards. So yeah, he looks fine standing with the rest of the figures on the shelf, but it is basically a glorified statue, which is fine as an accessory. But don't try and trick me, Hasbro. This is not a 2-pack. Going back to the main event, which is of course SpiderMan Noir. I actually really like this figure and think it's a great representation in plastic of the character we see on screen in that animated movie. And there's some nice details on this guy that I didn't notice when I first took it out of the box. If I zoom in real close here, you can see this sort of print dot matrix throughout the figure to sort of give it that animated style. So you've got like that grey polka dotness on the hat. It's actually on the mask as well, and even on the shoulder pads as well. So hopefully that comes across on screen, but it is a nice texture to give it that animated style. You can see the dots there on the face with the sculpted web lines on the mask, and those goggles are obviously sculpted as well, with the hat with the sort of vinyl black strap in the middle, and then as I said, those polka dot lines throughout the back. Really high collar as well. It is a hard plastic cape. I say cape, but a coat, you know what I mean. But it has got some nice textures and sculpts on it as well. You can see the bout here on the back is a loose bout attached as well. So it's like a very much an action pose, flaring in the wind, if you will. As I said, he's a very mysterious character, this SpiderMan Noir. But yeah, I am going to try the old Marvel Legends jacket on him as well in a minute. But I did want to just look at this hat first and foremost. Really like that. But we do have an option. Now, obviously, between the two, I do think people are going to prefer the hat on option, as it's a better representation of the character. But this head sculpt does give us a better look at this Spider-Man mask. As you can can see those sculpted web lines there painted in grey with that polka dot deco as well, and the sculpted goggles. So yeah, always great to have options. So again, whatever you prefer, hat on or hat off. Now while we're zoomed in, let's take a look at the actual body. So it's all simple. He's all dressed in black, of course, but throughout the figure there is that sort of polka dot sort of deco to give the sort of shadows. As is an all black design, it's hard to give us any actual design elements on the figure. So that polka dot sort of grayness is to sort of give it a shadowy effect. So you can see it there on the sleeves as well, but it's even on the like knee pads too. So yeah, more details on this guy than we initially thought. Now the arms are brand new to go along with the jacket. I do think double jointed pinless arms. Zoom in, you can have a better look at that deco with the swivel at the bicep. The arms will go all the way up, won't be hindered by the jacket because there's enough of a gap in there to give it clearance. So yeah, no problems in getting this guy in some decent poses with the upper body at least. 2 trigger finger hands as well. He does only come with 1 gun though, but at least you can hold it in either hand. But we will have limitations down here, especially if you want him standing on the display, as this flared out jacket is definitely going to take up some real estate, but we shall see how that looks later. We do have this new harness piece attached to the belt, which is more of a sort of glossy plastic, and then down here again glossy up top, and then sort of more of a matte in the middle, and then glossy down again on the bottom. But yeah, decent enough, double jointed pinless knees as well, and again clever reuse here, which makes sense with this new jacket. So overall, as I said, a great representation of the figure. I do think though, oh there you go, the collar piece is separate as well, I only just noticed that. I do think this head sculpt is the better option out of the two. Of course, he does come with a gun, which we may or may not have seen in Legends form before, I can't really tell, but he does hold it in his hand, no problem at all. Again, either hand will be absolutely fine, and he will pose up really nice with it as well. As I said, you can get this guy into some great poses. Will it work in the holster? Yes, of course it can, and the holster's pretty deep, so you can actually bury the gun all the way in there so you can't even see it at all. And again, the cape sort of got enough clearance there on the side so you can actually see the holster when you've got him displayed up. But 2 guns would have been great for this guy, but I don't even know if he has 2 guns in the movie, but he's got 2 trigger finger hands, so it just would look better. In case anyone wanted to see him without the jacket, here you go. And he does look weirdly proportioned without the jacket because obviously he has the jacketed arms and a very skinny body. The body is the same as T'Challa, of course, but only like the chest and the sort of mid area. I think from the knees down, the boots are different, and so are the arms. The jackets are different, so the arms are different. SpiderMan Noirs are definitely thicker, and the boots are definitely different as well. So not as much reuse as we first thought, but as I said, reuse in some areas, which again, not a complaint, just an observation, that's all. But yeah, there you go. So sort of same range of articulation between the two as well. And then the jacket, here you go. As I said, a solid sort of piece. You're not really going to be able to pose that up in any other way, unfortunately, but some nice details on it with the buttons and stuff on there. But it does remind me of the old Punisher jacket that was been in Marvel Legends since the Epic Hero days, and that was another hard sort of candy shell, but they are similar. So just for fun, let's try SpiderMan Noir with the old school jacket. So here he is with the old jacket, and it does work for display purposes, no problems at all. Still looks like SpiderMan Noir, but this jacket is definitely more stylized and takes up more room on the display. But it's nice that we've got options, and it also reminds me it was the exact same jacket that the old SpiderMan Noir was wearing as well. I said it was the Epic Heroes Punisher one, but it got used like on Nick Fury first, and then on a few other characters, but even got used on the comic SpiderMan Noir, who did come with 2 guns compared to the 1 gun that this guy came with. So maybe SpiderMan Noir can borrow your guns? He can, but they don't work so well. They're a little bit old now, and the trigger finger hole doesn't fit through the finger, so it doesn't look great for posing, but he does look better when he's dual wielding, that's for sure. Going akimbo and switching the jackets back, here we have our Into the Spider-Verse SpiderMan Noir compared to our comic version of SpiderMan Noir, and obviously you can see the similarities here, but this jacket is a lot more stylized to fit in tone with the Into the Spider-Verse movie. As I said, this guy is all black, no details on him at all, where this guy does have that sort of dot matrix grey to sort of give it that animated flavour. But even though it's got that flavour, it could still work in a comic display. As you can clearly see, the character design is simple enough. So if I take that out and just bring in like a generic comic Spider-Man, here we have the new 2-pack version, completely pinless. as you can tell, SpiderMan Noir could fit into a comic display as your comic SpiderMan Noir, and I don't think anyone would be mad at you for it. Even though it is technically an Into the Spider-Verse version, it could work into a comic display. Like, look at that. No one's going to question that. It looks still very mysterious on a shelf, posed up. So yeah, you have options here, people, if you missed out on that comic version, which does go for a pretty penny. And remember, this comic version didn't even have a hat. So the hat definitely changes the look, but you can see how he can stand close to this guy, but this guy's keeping his social distance. Oh no! It's The Undertaker! Now, this may seem like a random comparison at first, but I promise you there's a reason. Now, of course, this SpiderMan Noir has the option without the hat, but you don't get an extra hat accessory that he can hold. But The Undertaker does, which is random, but he is retired now, so I'm sure he won't mind. So maybe he can hold this. So there you go. I know it's random, but he will hold it for displaying options or for posing or for photos. And it's just nice to know these things. So if you have an Undertaker, steal his hat. Here we have Noir compared to the other Spider-Man characters from the Into the Spider-Verse movie we already have in Legends form with Miles Morales, Peter B. Parker, and Gwen Stacy. Of course, you don't need two SpiderHams. That would be ridiculous. We are missing Penny Parker, of course, and her robot, but we're also missing like actual Spider-Man versions of Peter B. Parker and Miles Morales, as the versions we got in Marvel Legends forms, very nice that they are wearing their sort of civilian clothes. So I haven't got any other versions of these characters. I know some other lines have done it, but being a casual fan of this movie, this is fine as a representation on the shelf. But I do think Spider-Man Noir will look better on a display with like Miles Morales actually in his full Spider-Man gear rather than wearing the jacket and shorts. Same with Peter B. Parker wearing an actual Spider-Man outfit, etc. But still works for display, and I am assuming that Marvel Legends will give us Penny Parker eventually, and I hope that she's not a statue like SpiderHam here. Hopefully she has a bit of articulation. And another look just for scale, and as I said, I think it works. Spider-Man Noir is an adult from the multiverse, so he is about the same height as Peter B. Parker, but as I said, there's a bit of social distancing going on, as that stylized jacket in that sort of windswept pose does mean you can't get them too close together on a display, so you're gonna have to be creative on the shelf. And the only other Into the Spider-Verse Marvel Legend I have, of course, came in that original wave as well. It is Prowler, which scales nicely and they look great. Let's bring back in T'Challa, considering he is based off another Marvel character based on an animated design, and also Doctor Strange, both from that Disney Plus What If series, and Spider-Man Noir fits in no problem. And again, to answer the question, will this Spider-Man Noir work in your display as a comic Spider-Man? Here we have Spider-Man UK and the Spider Armor Mark 1. You tell me what you think. And just to throw some villains in the mix, here we have Venom and Carnage. And again, I do think this Spider-Man Noir will work in a comic display if that type of thing doesn't bother you. Here we have Noir compared to Frogman, Tigra, and White Rabbit at the back. And last but absolutely not least, here we have Spider-Man Noir and SpiderHam compared to Captain Britain, the Dan Who Blue Beast, and Hellfire Hank, who is still sort of feeling the consequences of that X-Gene serum. What's gonna happen? So, final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Spider-Man Noir, and I guess you've got to count SpiderHam as well, as he is technically another character, but he is a glorified accessory because the main event is Spider-Man Noir, who is a great and accurate representation of what we've seen in the movie, and he will look very nice in an Into the Spider-Verse display with the other figures we already have as well. And again, with a sequel coming out in 2 parts, I'm sure more Marvel Legends are coming. I also think there's an opportunity here for sort of comic collectors to add a Spider-Man Noir to your comic shelves if you don't mind blurring the lines, as the character designs are very similar from animated to comic, and he will fit in there if you don't mind doing things like that. But you let me know what you think in the comments below. I do think the jacket is very stylized, where it's going to limit posing and does take up some real estate, but the articulation on the body is actually really good. I don't really show that off a lot in videos, as I prefer to talk about like how accurate the character is compared to the source material, but this guy does have a lot of articulation. It's just that the jacket will limit some of the poses, but still will look great, will definitely look dynamic on a shelf, and I definitely prefer when figures look like they're in motion and look like they're coming to life on a shelf. So I like this guy more than I thought I was going to, which is usually the case with Marvel Legends. But you let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you like Marvel Legends, then please stick around. You're in the right place. Check out the videos tab, find the playlist, but most importantly, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Honestly, hit the members club and you can come on the channel via a live stream. It is that simple. Follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who, and I'm on Twitter as well at Dan Who Reviews. Tweet me, don't be shy, as my name is Dan W, and I will of course see you on the next one.